the Chevy Music Showcase.
It's the Chevy Music Showcase.
This is the Chevy Music Showcase.
It's the Chevy Music Showcase.
It's the Chevy Music Showcase.
It's a Chevy Music Showcase.
It's the Chevy Music Showcase Season 3 Special, an insider view of the Oklahoma City music scene, featuring the talents of Travis Linnville, Scott Keeton, Cami Stinson, John Calvin, Foss, KC Clifford, Admirals, Samantha Rose, Dustin Prinz, Pretty Black Chains, Brine Webb, and the Damn Quails. Presented commercial-free by the Oklahoma Chevy Team Dealers.
It's the Chevy Music Showcase.
For going on 3 years now, the Oklahoma Chevy Team Dealers have showcased a wide range of OKC's creators and performers of original music. And one thing our show has demonstrated beyond the shadow of a doubt is that our music community is as diverse, original, and bursting with talent as any major U.S. city. Yet, in just about any city outside of Nashville, LA, New York, or Austin, local original music continues to struggle for recognition. That's why the Chevy Music Showcase endeavors to shine a light on something we consider a real point of pride and share some insights on what makes these troubadours tick. What put them on this path? What are their challenges? What keeps them going? And how do they turn a nugget of an idea into a connection among complete strangers? Well, to find out, come hang out with the band and get to know a few gems of the Oklahoma City music scene.
When I was a little girl, I would go to these jams that were just me and the rest, everyone else is like 70 years old or 80. Old dudes playing old country songs, and that was like my favorite music. Like my favorite song was Crazy Arms, Ray Price.
Right.
I'm like 12 years old, and that's so weird.
My parents say that I came out of the womb singing. The first picture of me truly performing, I was 2.5. They did a spring program, and all the kids on the stage kind of freaked out because they're like 2.5, right? And I walked up and I leaned the microphone down and just started singing my own solo. My parents were like, right, okay.
It's a good start. I don't even like to admit like what the first thing was that sparked music in me. My mother would always rock me to sleep to like MTV, you know?
On my dad's side of the family, his parents were both musicians, and you know, they kind of had like a family band, and they also built horse trailers. So in conjunction with an advertisement for their horse trailer business, they also had a local radio show like every week where they played on the radio in Chickasha.
So they were like in early marketing.
Yes, horse trailers specifically, right. Through music, yes.
I moved to Oklahoma in the middle of high school, didn't know anybody, so I sat down and learned just CDs of all these songs on bass, you know, and then did that by myself because I didn't know anybody. And then the next thing I know, I'm like making some money playing bass, and I'm just doing it because it's what I do. And then I realized, whoa, I now have a job, and it's good.
And it's a good job.
Yeah, it's a great job. And then somewhere I started writing songs, and that kind of became the blending of those two sides of me. That seems really obvious looking backwards, but I was slow like coming to it.
Yeah.
If I could find a way to come see you. If I could find a way to come see you, I wouldn't lose the fight in all I'm working for. But I haven't talked to you for days and days.
Did you have a moment where you realized you wanted to do music?
I always liked to play guitar because it was sort of an adrenaline rush, and it was a way to pick up, you know, girls and look cool, you know. And that's
Does
how
it work?
Well, no, it doesn't work.
Really, I wanted to play baseball, and I was really pretty good at it, but I ended up hurting my knees. So about that time when I realized that wasn't going to work, I had to figure out a way to meet girls, so I started playing guitar.
Oh, that's the biggest girl catcher right there.
Yeah.
I know some people are like, I did music and I did sports and I did, or were you like all about the music?
I was a sports kid for sure. I think there was some connection between sports and music for me because I kind of had some kind of like practice mentality.
Believe it or not, I grew up, I played football
3 years with the boys, baseball. I wrestled, never did choir. I actually talked too much in choir, and I got kicked out. I got kicked out of choir, and she never even got to hear me sing.
I remember I was like 16 years old in high school, and I got an offer to play this weekend thing with like a 4-hour set at this coffee shop in town. And I went in there and just, like, I figured there would be about 5 people or 10 people, and there was like 30 people in there. And I was standing outside, and it was either like, well, I can go in and play the show, or I can pack up and go home. So I threw up, and I went and played the show. Nice. And like, I made $100, and for a 16-year-old kid walking out with $100 cash, why would you do anything else?
The desire to make music may come from inside, but the kind of music one makes almost always comes from someone who came before.
What do you like to listen to get your musical mojo happening?
I like to listen to old stuff. All the people that did something, that changed things. I like always go back to that for like a reset button to get inspired. Like Otis Redding, Ella Fitzgerald was like my hero. I used to love Patsy Cline.
He's a huge 60s guy,
I love 60s.
which is cool because, you know, until recently we were a 4-piece, and we always, we got compared to, this sounds so ridiculous, but we get Zeppelin reference a lot.
And then eventually I was able to work with a lot of different other roots artists. Back then it wasn't called roots, it was just called rock and roll. Now they call what I do roots rock. What do they call what you do?
They don't.
They don't.
They don't. Okay.
One of our favorites, well, I know me and Brine, and I know that every time we play some of his stuff on stage, like the band really gets into it, but Woody Guthrie, he was maybe the first American artist that just blatantly
rip off everybody.
Rip off, the gospel songs or, the blues guys and stuff like that. But he did it in such a way that, it was unique and original while being very familiar.
I liken it to a big funnel, and all your influences come in the big side, and then hopefully out the little side comes out who you are. You can't deny that, as long as you acknowledge. It's kind of like when you write a term paper. As long as you cite your sources, you're okay.
We all come from different backgrounds, so, I mean, like, we got punk, jazz.
If you had to compare yourself to a band.
I feel like we've been compared to As Tall as Lions,
Okay.
like more than anyone else.
Yeah.
So.
Collectively, we love Kings of Leon, so we listen to a lot of them.
They're good, and they have a very unique sound, I think. Like, they were huge in Europe many years before people knew they existed.
That's my goal, man.
And isn't it love that always begins with trust? Isn't it
I was like a little girl in a small town that only had country radio stations. So I got a hold of that Miseducation of Lauryn Hill album, and it changed my life, and it kind of set me on a path, and it took me a while to get there. And then now I try to listen to stuff, oddly enough, that's not a lot like me. So if I listen to a new artist, I try not to listen to them very much, so I don't start like mimicking them.
Turn into them.
Yeah, so I'd listen to fun music like Fun or like Mumford & Sons, and then to kind of like get inspired to write things. If I listen to something that's a little bit like that, and then the old stuff, something cool usually comes out.
The artists of the Chevy Music Showcase cover a broad range of sounds and styles. But there's at least one trait they all share. They all perform original music. That comes with its own set of challenges, not the least of which is actually writing it.
Do you have a process to writing songs?
Write as much as you can, and out of like all the crap you write, there's gonna be a couple golden ones.
That's the secret. I actually am a crappy, terrible songwriter.
Me too.
And I'm just like a vaguely lucky 14 times out of 200.
Right.
I've always heard from like my biggest influences are like, man, the best songs we wrote in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, the quick ones, the ones from above are the easy ones, wherever they come from. You pull them out of the ether and they're done. Like that's, then you got the ones you slave over for years.
Yeah.
And like
most of the times we like really make too big of a deal out of the song. At the end of the day, we're like, we're scrapping this.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it becomes this really like sad, downer situation at practice. I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna go home and cry.
Bob Dylan said that all the songs in the world that are ever going to be written have already been written. You just have to tune in and you know, bring them to your pen.
The iPhone's been great for me because it's got the little voice recorder. I used to carry a whole bag of stuff, you know, to be able to get the idea down.
Like record it on your phone, you're humming in the car, and then all of a sudden you just like put it down, you're like, yeah, no. That's not exactly what I thought when I was humming, you know? Because you're kind of like a crappy hummer. Yeah. It's like, what was that?
Sometimes I wake up and I have like a guitar riff in my head and I'm like, is this someone else's guitar riff, you know? It's like I wonder sometimes if it's something that I've heard. And so I mess around with it and mash it up, you know, and it ends up turning into kind of its own little beast.
I can be sitting right here talking to you and my mind will just start thinking of a song and I'll like be so tuned out of what we're talking about and I'll be trying to hold that little thought. But my originals, they truly do come from my life experiences and maybe another person's life experience and me just feeling for them and letting it out.
Being on the road is just not conducive for me to write at all. I needed to really get off the grid just to kind of unplug and get quiet. I spent 3 days up there to kind of decompress. On the third day I thought, well, I should write a song. And I pulled out a guitar and I tried to write. I got nothing. Pulled out the dulcimer, nothing. I had brought this mandolin with me. So I tried the mandolin, I got nothing. And by the end of the day, you know, I texted David and I was like, babe, this has been a really great run, you know, but I think I need a day job because apparently—
Got nothing else.
I don't write songs anymore. You know? Of course, he texted me back from the city and was like, you always say that, just keep at it. And the next day I wrote 2 songs and the day after that I wrote 2 songs and all of a sudden got super inspired.
But just in case there aren't any more tomorrows, let's not waste one drop of our own sorrows. Just hold me close, knowing our time is borrowed. Just in case there aren't any more tomorrow.
How do you guys know when a song is done, or is it done?
I feel like once it's recorded, then you can really start to like because then you can just hear it. You can just listen to it.
You're not in the middle of
exactly.
it. You hear it back.
You can just hear it.
Like as the artist of the song, I don't feel like you should ever be really set that the song is ever finished in a way, because when you go back and listen to it later, you're like, oh, well, this could change, or I could add this part to it. You know what I mean? And it's constantly changing.
I love writing songs. I just young at it still, you know?
I feel the same way.
Yeah, I can't imagine a time when I'm gonna feel comfortable.
Like you've got it.
Yeah, like you don't,
oh,
yeah.
Man, it's easy. This is a good song.
Of course, the work doesn't stop when the song is written. The true test of a songwriter's mettle comes when their masterpiece is set free, to see how it is received by fans and peers. Fortunately for our artists, the OKC music scene provides fertile ground for their work to take root.
In my experience, being a musician here in the area for the last 10 years, right now is a really great time to play music in Oklahoma. Whether if you're in Bricktown or if you're in, you know, over on Western, up north a little bit, or down in Norman, or all the way to Stillwater, it's all close enough to where you've got this great group of people, and like we all just met today.
It's really fertile for creativity. Like I think that a lot of the artists that are a part of Chevy Music Showcase, or just the artists that we interact with here in the local scene, are really amazing. And I have friends that will come from out of town, even from like music cities, and say, wow, there's some really cool things going on here.
Oklahoma is such a fertile place for talent and artistry. Unfortunately, a lot of the years past, we've had to expatriate all that talent and it goes somewhere else to grow. And that's what all of this stuff is about to me. We're finally getting a chance to show off some of the stuff and hopefully keep some of that talent here.
I think Oklahoma City's on the up and up right now. Yeah. I feel really good about my city.
There's this really cool grassroots thing happening here, and I'm so proud to be from Oklahoma and to represent it around the country and to tell people about our city and the progression that's happening, especially down in this area of town. You know, there's so much growth.
Well, I definitely think that, you know, the Oklahoma music scene, I've never been in any other music scene, but this scene is awesome. There's just a bunch of bands that are really good. There's a lot of competition, I feel like.
But at the same time, it's so small that we're all kind of family.
In about the last 5 to 10 years, Oklahoma City has seen a real resurgence with its local music scene. There was a time where, you know, you could come to the Bricktown area and you would see nothing but 80s cover bands or stuff like that.
We're definitely like moving in the right direction.
Of course, one can only enjoy home field advantage for so long. At some point, you got to take the show on the road.
It's its own thing, man. There's nothing like staying in a different motel every night. You know, figuring out what the continental breakfast is. Like, oh my God, they've got biscuits and gravy. It's the Hojo. I forget. Like,
we haven't upgraded to the hotels yet.
Yeah.
We still got floors in the van.
Floors.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we stay on floors or on couches as much as possible.
Yeah, touring's good for the experience, but taking it as the way to make it might be the most difficult road. You have to be known to get seen. I mean, you can't just go out and go play random clubs and think that, all right, people are just going to show up.
It depends on who you're playing with in each town. It has nothing to do with your band. It's
hard to pack out a club in anywhere, South Carolina, on a Wednesday night in the middle of December.
You know, when I was younger, you know, it was exciting. It was like, you know, getting on a pirate ship and going all over. And everybody should do that. Everybody should experience that. I got to experience a lot of things. I've been lucky enough to play at Carnegie Hall in New York City. And I've also played where I had to lift my guitar up so people could go to the bathroom in the bar in Goaty Boat. I've played a lot of honky tonks. We one time played a two-nighter and came back and there'd been a shooting and I had a bullet hole in my amp. That was an interesting one.
I've kind of sworn off the bars. It's just not my market.
It's not the thing.
I played in Lubbock, Texas. It was Valentine's Day. You know, I'm playing like touchy-feely songs and I'm thinking, well, that's what they probably want to hear, and because you know, doesn't everybody want to hear that when they're drinking their troubles away?
Right.
But there were these cowboys broke out in a full-on like barroom brawl, like, and I'm up there singing this little like arpeggiated love song. You know, I was like, this isn't working for me. You know? But I did feel like I got kind of a Girl Scout badge of honor because a bar fight had happened while I played. But yeah, I figured, hey, that's some kind of a notch.
It is a notch on the belt for sure.
Yeah.
Have you toured with your stuff before? No, all my experience touring has been playing for other bands. And it's really exciting because you're 1,000 miles away from home and
You're having a good time.
there's fans there to see.
I think in the past you would tour because people wanted just music. They didn't have the internet, so they go, who's this band? Oklahoma, weird. You would almost just tour, so that way when someone asked, what have you guys done?
Yeah.
Toured for the last 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
How many people at your shows? We toured for the last 2 years.
A life in music may seem like all fun, but outside of the time you see them on stage is when the real work happens. Just like in any small business, they have to do it all.
I do business 99% of the time and music 1. I feel like I have to do everything that comes my way and I can't say no to anything.
I probably don't make very much money at all playing my music. None,
actually.
I play jazz guitar to pay the bills.
What I found is as I get a little bit older, I really like to do everything still involved with music, everything. But I've got balance now with teaching and with recording for other people and with performing.
How do you balance the business side with the creative side of what you do?
You know, I find it difficult, to be quite honest. I am much more in tune with the creative side or with the side of just actually doing. But I still really think that the thing is doing what you do in front of people, you know, and that's the trick, I think, most of all, is to put yourself in a good situation to get in front of the right people in as large a numbers as you can and do your thing, you know.
The people that just want to be famous, or I tell my students, that's not what you want to go for. It's rough. You have to do all this stuff yourself before someone will be interested enough to step in to help.
You can be self-sustaining more than any other time right now, I think, with like technology and internet. Bands can just do almost everything on their own. And if you know how to record too, you're very well set.
Yeah.
But you don't need labels. Know what you're doing. do everything right, take care of yourself, be nice to people, tweet back to someone, they tweet you. I don't know. Like you don't need other people really helping you until you get to like a really higher level.
The day of like the record label and everything, it's changed so much, you know. It's like you have to have this massive following or show that you're doing these tours and stuff for management to even look at you as being, you know, worthy of their time, which is, you know, it's completely understandable because we have every means now to be able to promote ourselves through all these outlets.
The record companies sold last year because right now, I mean, like record companies want you to sell albums so they can make all their money back that they put into you, but people just steal albums so no one's making any money. So bands, I think they just have to accept the fact that their music is not going to be a way to make money. I mean, if you get enough music stolen, it's time to go tour.
Right.
You just need to get enough music stolen first.
People are downloading our stuff illegally. Yes! You don't care. Like that's where you want to be. Like some dude in Indonesia is like getting down.
Having this online following, predominantly of people in Germany and stuff, you know, I haven't had the money to be able to tour where a lot of my fan base is at, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm starting to actually figure out how to do the business side of trying to be my own manager and everything else.
You know, the digital download thing has completely changed the game. And that's one thing that we've really tried to take advantage of. Like Brian said, we got the social networking, and then we point people from there to iTunes and stuff like that that can't make the show. So
we're big in Norway.
Oh, we're huge in Norway, man. Norwegians love us.
So where's all of this heading? Well, you may be surprised to learn that not all of them are gunning for the cover of the Rolling Stone. The dreams are as diverse as the artists themselves.
What direction are you heading right now as an artist? Like, what do you want from all this after all these years?
You know, my thing is more about keeping it all going. You know, so I have my hands in a few different things at all times. And so I see all of it as just a big process of, you know, continuing to turn the wheel. And as long as I keep finding joy from it, then it's all good.
I guess who's someone that you kind of want to model your career off of?
I idolize like strong women that are a part of the band. One artist that comes to mind, Betty Carter, and she was just like straight up hardcore jazz, but that she wrote her own arrangements. She knew exactly what was going on with her music. She wasn't like a girl that just showed up and didn't know how to plug in a microphone and just did her thing and walked off the stage. She was like a part of the music, and her voice was like an instrument.
Some people that we've run into are kind of people that have influenced me recently. People that keep a level head when they're out on the road, don't get too big for their britches. And then again, there's like the big ones, like the band, people that were just, you know, just cool. You know, they played solid music their entire careers, and you know, they just left everything out there each and every time. Those are the kind of things that really get me going. You see stuff like that, like, yeah, I want to do that. That's what I want to be. That's who I want to emulate.
There's also the groups that you're like really excited to see live, and they deliver time after time for 13, 15, 20 years, and they still are playing in the same bar. You know, it's like, so like, how do you prevent that?
I think it's you got to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. I mean, if you get too comfortable and you're doing the same thing over and over again,
that's all you're ever going to do.
Yeah. If you want something to change, you have to change what you're doing, because you can't wait for somebody else to do it for you.
I think the thing isn't, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it, but
not make it like, you know, I want, you know, a house in Malibu, you know, and I want cars. Well, of course
I'll take that.
I would too, you know, I'd take a fast sports car.
Take a Tahoe.
Oh, yes.
I'd like to be playing theaters, festivals, stuff like that, but in a setting where the music is so alive and I'm so much a part of what's going on.
I do want to make it.
Yeah.
But in lieu of that, I think I would accept just continuing to keep making music in the ways that I want to make it. Whatever that takes, you know, whether that's a small but dedicated fan base spread across the planet that I reach through the internet, or, you know, a huge career. Either way, I just want to be making music that somebody is appreciating.
Exactly, yeah.
And wants me to keep making.
Mountainous creative challenges, long trips with lousy accommodations, endless hours of hard work and little or no money. With a job description like that, you gotta wonder, what keeps them going?
I got a gig in Bricktown and the line's out the door. And that's when it hit me right when I stepped on that stage and people started like cheering for me and yelling my name, and like this is the feeling really, you know. I couldn't get over it and I craved that feeling, and every time I play I crave that feeling. Even if there's 4 people or 400 people, it doesn't matter, I still crave that feeling.
I really love inspiring people, and so my goal is to inspire as many people as I can. I mean, there's nothing cooler than knowing that someone picked up the guitar because of a song that you wrote, you know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of what makes me light up.
That path, that road, like that amount of time, all of the efforts and just fun. And I think that if you just keep going, that's making it.
Local music defines and enriches a community, and it only thrives with your support. So treat yourself to a night out sometime soon and cheer on a local musician. They've earned it.
Lovely night to go for a ride. The moon is up and it's warm outside. Haven't been home in such a long, long time. I'm cruising along in my Chevy tonight. Set the cruise, turn the radio on. I'm lost inside an old country song.